Our friends at Synovio analyzed over 44 million outreaches and came up with the state of cold outreach. And it is definitely fascinating. 3 things that will blow your mind. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. On this episode, we're going to have Fernando, my good friend, man. He's from Synovio. And one of the things we're going to be talking about, tackling today is how do we get more replies, man? How do we utilize tools like LinkedIn? How do we utilize email more effectively and multi-channel campaigns to make sure that we're actually getting to people, getting responses, and obviously generating more money? This is an awesome episode. They did a state of sales. They analyzed, as I mentioned in teaser, 44 million outreaches, and it's fascinating what they got from that. We're going to tackle some myths and some debates when it comes to outreach. If this is your first time listening to our podcast or watching one of our videos, go ahead and subscribe. Do yourself a favor. We're going to make sure to notify you every time we drop a new piece of content. If you already subscribe and you're loving the podcast, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Now, as we dive into this, I want you to listen to what he says based on the number. It works better with with LinkedIn messages or no messages in your connection request. By the way, I have a little bit of a disagreement. That's all I'm going to tell you. Check it out. Fernando, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Donald. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you. As you know, and as everyone listening to this episode knows, I love talking sales and I love to learn new things and insight. You guys are just finished up completing the state of cold outreach. It has a lot of great insights on that. I bragged about you all in the company a minute ago, but tell us a little bit more about what you do with Synovio.
Well, great. I've been with Snowville for almost 4 years now and been dealing prospection this whole time, prospecting from every niche to every niche, trying to, improve every aspect of it. And I can say that we learned a lot during time over time, and we got a lot of good data to bring everyone.
Love it. Well, let's dive in heavy because I alluded to one of these. LinkedIn is probably one of the most effective outreach channels. And I think so many people are still trying to figure out how to break into and utilize LinkedIn effectively. The first thing that you guys have was a startling stat that stood out to me was on LinkedIn messages with a connection request versus no messages in a connection request. Can you share some of the data, what you guys found about this? And this is like a survey you did. It's not with like one, or your data point is not like one person or 100 individuals. How many people were in this data source?
Actually, overall, we followed up to 44 million campaigns and emails, and yeah, that's a lot.
All right, so there's there's some truth to this numbers. Then there's no bias here. 44 million. All right. So tell us, what's the outcome? Should we have? Was it better to have a message in the LinkedIn connection request or no message?
This one is actually quite simple, and when you start to think about it, it's actually quite obvious. Because, well, let me take this from sorry. Just let me answer this one straight, just to get this out of the way. No message works better. And here's the thing: imagine it's you. Take it from from your point of view. You're opening your LinkedIn, you got a lot of notifications over there, and you got a lot of requests there to follow up with. And we're gonna open those. You're gonna see who's who, and you're gonna accept it or not. That's it. In no step, in it didn't stop to search those people. To look a little closer. Maybe you have 4, 10 requests in a day. You're not gonna stop all of them and read their single messages, find out, understand who they are on a deeper level. You're just gonna accept it. And if you got a message in it, a lot of people might stop to think that's a pitch. That's someone trying
Yeah.
to sell me something that's, he's not. Here it comes, another one of those. People are sick and tired of this. So we found out that no messages works a little low, a little performs a little bit better. That's a
Yeah.
3% difference when you stop to analyze raw data, but when you sum it up, 3% of millions and millions, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for more replies, if you're looking to develop more and more your network on LinkedIn and start to warm up and prospect your leads through it, then stick to no messages. Just send that invite right away, and that's it.
So, Fernando, you're with you guys in the data. You're starting to persuade me a little bit. I'm in the other camp, um, and I'm in the message camp. But there's a couple things that you shared and I looked at in the report that you all have that makes sense. In it is the less thinking when you have no message. So if I see you, one of the things you all mentioned is that I'm basically making a judgment on that picture and what I can see real quickly. Like you look like a friendly person. Use it in the tech sales. Okay, cool. We'll connect. What I think what still makes it the it also can go into other favor because if I see somebody and they say like their title says financial planner, 9 times out of 10 there are going to be some pitch coming. So even if it's not now, so I don't accept many of those financial planners. Or something such as I do lead generation for coaches, sales coaches. I know what's going to come, so I don't even accept that one. But 3%. I looked at it and I didn't see that big, but I see what you're saying. When it's millions, it could be it could be a deep impact. Um, I tend to look at the messages in two ways, though. I feel, and I would probably agree that most of the messages that are not going to get accepted are the ones that are salesy, the ones that sounds like it's canned like everybody else or whatnot. What I try to do is to get some kind of engagement with the person first, and I use it's good. I mean, not with everybody, but when I do like a outreach campaign and I build a list in Sales Navigator and it's a targeted list, I'm going to look for people that are posting on LinkedIn and I'm going to engage with them. And I tend to see some of those engagements. Yeah, you can just do a quick LinkedIn invite connection request and get connected. But if we engage, um, I can even drop a message and say something to the nature of referring back, like Fernando. It was again. I saw your episode with Donald. Thought it was interesting. Wanted to drop by here to connect. Like something like that makes more sense because we already engage on a post or engage, whatever. I found that to be have a higher return. I don't have the data there compared to the millions that you all have, but I see that tend to be a little bit more receptive rather than hey, we have mutual connections, let's connect. I mean, I feel like that doesn't work. Thoughts?
That is right, actually, but there's a key point there that we're not mentioning, but you got it sharp. That's personalization. You had a reason to get in touch with that person. You had
Mm.
something in common for real, and not something like, I'm sales, you're sales, let's connect, or something like that.
I'm sales, I want to sell you something, so let's connect. um
Everyone's to sell, no
yeah.
one's looking to buy in this scenario. So you want to persuade them, you want to get accepted into their network. Then if they do, then you send them a message, then you develop that talk a little more.
Yeah. And I think it's fascinating too. There was a gentleman that I engaged with on LinkedIn. He tagged me in a post, but his philosophy was he's like scorched earth theory. It's just like, screw it, just pitch them from the onset. And if you get them, if they accept you, then obviously you can pitch, then you can, do business. But if they, or, talk to them about your service, but if they don't, then so be it. But I don't feel, I feel like you become a spammer real quick on LinkedIn and you burn a lot of bridges that way. Um, just pitching on the connection request. I think it's kind of lame personally. So
Exactly. Not only that, but when you spray and pray, then you risk LinkedIn blocking you away. It even
yes.
rhymes.
Well, this is fascinating with LinkedIn connection. So there you guys go. Some stuff to test out. Try it, and I think in a large, if you're doing a lot of connection requests, I mean, you only can do so much too. LinkedIn kind of limits that.
Hmm.
You doing the do it on that. And you don't know the person. Do it without a message. You engage with the person beforehand. Then maybe you could try the message at that point. But um, I like it. Cool. All right. Emails. This is one that everyone. So the first point was around LinkedIn. Second point, and by the way, we have this report, and if you want to get access to it, you'll get some information down in the show notes. But emails, we want to get emails, and I want to get my emails to get through. Let's talk about tracking my emails. Should I or should I not, and why?
The good old depends.
All right. Give me.
Love this one. So we mentioned that we tracked 44 million emails. That's a little give or take. Out of those 44, we could analyze that it depends mostly on your behavior than anything else. For example, out of those 44, 37 of them were with tracking on, and 7 million of them were tracking off. So keep that in mind. 37 million tracking on, 7 million tracking off. Out of those, we got a little over 190,000, bit more if I will remember, 190,000 replies on the first one with tracking on. That's 37 million to get a little over 200K. And with the ones with tracking off, we had 7 million sent to 100K replies. That's almost the same result.
Interesting.
Yeah, with a lot less sent. So that really stands out. And the real question is why? A lot of
Yeah.
people in the audience may not be aware, but when you track your email, even though there is nothing visible there for you, there is something visible there to the algorithm. That's a tracking pixel, a single point in your screen that will track back that opening or not, and the algorithm can catch that. But
Mm.
there are ways to go around when to use it. For example, if you're working marketing, if you're experimenting on different subtitles, if you're experimenting on different audiences for different products and services and this kind of thing, you don't need those replies. Then if you're tracking your audience behavior, that's super valid. You could do it. You could measure A/B testing and see if A performs better than B and so on. But when you're talking prospection, when you're talking sales, you gotta use the data that you gathered previously with all those trackings, and you put that in a new campaign with a new account with everything healthy, let's call it, where everything is healthy and untouched. Then you don't track your openings, so you keep your account safe, you keep your domain safe, you don't risk then getting blacklisted, red flagged, or something like that, because you don't have that single pixel anymore. Now you know what works, you know what performs best. You're focusing on getting replies. That's the thing. So for
Mm.
marketing purposes, can track your opens. For sales purpose, please don't. That's killing your replies.
Sales purposes, we don't. Marketing purposes, we can experiment with it and
Exactly.
utilize it. Okay.
For
I
running a
want
controlled A/B test or something like that, then you should be fine tracking. Then otherwise,
stay away from it.
exactly.
So in most of those softwares, they typically have something that you could turn on that's out there. If you're doing an outreach, put like maybe turn on tracking or turn it off. Um, you're just saying be mindful of that before, because sometimes it may come as a default too, right?
Exactly. Some it depends. On Snovio, you can actively opt in or out of those trackings, but for other platforms that might come as a standard. So keep an eye open.
Okay. One of the other things that you guys discovered with emails is, I mean, this seems to be an obvious one, but I still see people not doing that, not obeying it. But it is images in the email. Talk to me about that part.
Actually, I see a lot of people doing it still today because a lot of people use for mail marketing and they're still doing it wrong. Please, everyone, if you're sending your mail marketings with a lot of PDFs and a lot of images detailing your services, stop.
Hmm.
That's killing your campaigns, that's killing your replies, that's killing your sales. Keep it simple, stick to plain text. Just think about it. There's nothing keeping your plain text message from being delivered. There's no link, there's no image, there's no file, there's no nothing. So plain text always wins, especially HTMLs with, I don't know, if you're adding some codes or something in your emails, stop it for sales purpose. Just stick to plain text. Focus on getting your clients to engage, getting a reply from them. Focus all your energy on building an engaging copy. Sorry, building an engaging copy. That's what's gonna bring you sales, not your pretty images.
So when you say engagement copy, I'm a sales guy. We're not necessarily marketing folks. What does that look like in a sales email? An engaging copy.
You start with personalization, not only like spin text or something like that, but real personalization, deep level personalization. Study your leads, mention something that is relevant to them. I once saw, I'm not gonna remember who it is, but she's a CEO of some big Italian company mentioning that she got an email like can of soda, beach, dog, something like that. That was the subtitle, and I was amazed to see how engaging she was with that, because it made perfect sense for her, not anyone
Interesting.
else.
Yeah.
Exactly. Going to their LinkedIn if you got, and going to their LinkedIn, fo- focus on studying what they do for a living, what their jobs like if you're not prospecting in a specific niche or something like that. But study your lead, mention something that makes sense to them, and then work out from that point on. Not really just hi, hey, good afternoon, good morning.
Yeah. And I imagine with that CEO, she probably posted something about the dog or something about the beach. Maybe there's like,
Exactly.
yeah, maybe something the company did, but it stands out because it's personalization to at a level, and then the relevance is probably tied back to a problem she's facing as the CEO.
Exactly.
Uh,
She had a story there explaining everything, but I'm not gonna remember it now. But it made perfect sense. But the thing is, this guy, he searched hers in a such deep level that he got different points from not her history, but moments that he could find on LinkedIn that connect to this and that, and that converted.
Interesting. You mentioned this before. Focus on replies. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that? What difference happens if I'm focusing on replies versus just opens?
Basically a mindset thing. If you're focusing on replies, you're focusing on really selling whatever you're offering. You're focusing on getting your lead to be heard. Making them open to you, getting them to reply to something, getting them to engage so you can really dive deep into their pain, into their problem. That's the thing. When you're focusing on making your campaigns work, you can say, I'm going to change this and that subject. Let's see, this one performed better, so this one is better. No. How many replies did you get for this one that performed so much? How much did you get for the other one? That's the thing. When you focus on getting replies, you get everything that works up till now, and you put it to work. You build your copywriting based on making your lead to engage.
Yep. And I like that because it's not one sided. I feel sometimes people want to get the replies, or they focus on, excuse me, focus on getting the opens, or focus in on the shock and awe that the message isn't quite there. But if you focus on the replies, the end result, then your subject lines are going to be good. Your body and your copy is going to be good already. And those replies eventually lead to a conversation. A reply is such a lower commitment than a commitment for an appointment, or even a commitment to purchase, for definitely lower. But I can at least reply and say no, I'm not interested, or send me something and let's connect in Q4 or whatever. But that reply is way better than the nothing, or just being caught in spam in the first place.
Exactly. Even there was the reply you negative, I'm not interested, but you're interested enough to take your time and reply to that person so you can release then, you're considerate enough to giving them an answer, to answer them back. So this guy might not be interested today, but he might get interested in the future. So there's also a metric.
Love it. I want to then talk about API versus SMTP. Can you tell us what that is?
Sure. Uh, when you're setting your account, especially in Snowview, I use Snowview as a starting point because I'm biased. But especially especially when you're setting your account, you got two options. You can set it via SMTP or you can set it via API. Via API tends to work a lot better than SMTP. Data clearly shows that Gmail API outperforms SMTP, delivering over double the engagement and response rates. So this difference isn't just a technical nuance or a slight this or that. It's actually metrify. It's a method. For example, using Gmail API on those 44 million, using Gmail API, we had 3 point, almost 3.5, 3.40 something, 45% replies. Over SMTP, we had 1.6. That's over twice the the improvement.
Can you
So
explain what
that
those differences are, though?
yeah, sure. Gmail API uses Google's own trusted servers, while
Hi.
SMTP, you're building it from scratch. You're building reputation from scratch instead of borrowing it from Gmail. You're telling the algorithm, you're teaching the algorithm from nothing who you are and why your messages should be delivered. While you get it from Google's API, you actually borrow this reputation from them. So you already told by Google to the algorithms that you should be delivered, your message should be delivered and not sent to spam or simply lost halfway. Which, by the way, Microsoft does it, how can I say, out, astonishingly good with that. Some emails
Interesting.
in Microsoft don't even get delivered. They just get killed halfway through because it recognizes you as a spammer or as a bot or something like that because you don't get the reputation. So when you borrow
Wow.
it, yeah, when you borrow it from an API, that doesn't happen.
So you're telling me I should use something like Gmail?
Gmail is the best one, but what you definitely should focus on is server matching, server provider matching. For example, we got it on Snowview. You can, if you got different servers like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and so
Yahoo.
on, you can send messages to your clients that match. So Google to Google, Microsoft to Microsoft, Amazon to Amazon, and this will actually improve your deliverability. As a consequence, improve your replies as well because you're getting this reputation and this reputation matched in order to send and deliver more. So prioritize Google, prioritize API, should be good.
Love it. A couple more questions I have because this is fascinating for me. Spintex is Is spin text personalization?
It was at some point.
Thanks for being frank.
It was at some point in history, and sadly, not a long time ago. We were here to see it born and die, you know.
Mhm.
But it shouldn't be all discarded all the way. I mean, everything you can use in your favor to improve even more your deliverability and replies should be used. But spin text alone isn't the answer. When you
Yeah.
use spin text, it's just like a variable in a coding platform or something like that. You switch from hi to hello, from good morning to good afternoon, and so on. This back in the day was used to skip, maybe dodge, maybe try to parry the algorithms filters. But nowadays we got so advanced AIs and algorithms that learn so fast they are not following. So spin text, if you use only spin text, maybe you shouldn't even use it. Focus on personalizing more your messages than using spin text. But if you're following everything that we should be doing to get a healthy account and a healthy domain, then definitely use spin text as one of your weapons in your armory.
Love it. And to clarify, just some, some of the folks that may be listening, spin text is your, good afternoon, Mary, from XYZ company, where those little variables you put into the email.
Exactly. That's a
Yep.
good name, actually. Low variables.
Yeah. All right, the last one. So we three things. First, we talked about LinkedIn. Second one, we talked about the emails, and we give a lot of good stuff around some of the technical side of emails. But you got to make sure you're still writing good copy that's relevant. The third component is multi-channel campaigns. I would love to hear some of the data you guys have on multi-channel campaigns.
As I always say, one thing will not solve it all. There's no magic pill. There's no right answer for a single problem, for a series of problems, and so on. What you need again is an armory. You gotta have different weapons and strike from every flank. So use multi-channel campaign in your favor. You got emails, you got a LinkedIn, you got if you got Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever. The thing is making your lead reply to you. Here in Snowview, we use a lot of email, obviously, but LinkedIn as well. And we use some of both of them in order to warm up our leads and getting more and more replies. For example, email has a 2 to 5% reply rate, but for LinkedIn DMs, that's up to 10. So a lot
What?
of people, yeah, everyone's on LinkedIn. Sorry, everyone's on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Everyone's there to connect, to sell, to buy, to prospect, and a lot of people tend to forget that LinkedIn is a prospection platform as well. So why not prospect via it? You know, that's the thing. When you automate your prospection via LinkedIn as well, you build familiarity, you build trust, you grow your pipeline. That's the thing. There are a lot of leads just waiting for you on LinkedIn.
but it would seem that it would be like just if you're talking about directly from InMail outreach to prospects, right?
Might be email, might be a regular message, but get your leads to connect with you is the first step. If they accept, then you know that there's another thing in between. Not only if they accept, but how fast they accept. You can
Interesting.
send yeah, you can send an invite today and only get accepted next month. Tell me, is this guy online? Is he there to
And
listen to
spending
you?
time.
Exactly. So if someone's accepting your invites on whatever term you think it's fit, might be a week, might be a day, then you know that person is online to answer to you. The person is there to receive your message. So keep an eye open for that as well.
I love it. This multi-channel, any other tips or advice regarding multi-channel campaign?
Use Novio Outreach.
He's like, listen, save a lot of problem. Well, tell me why. Why would it? Why would that help me with multi-channel?
That will save you a lot of time. You can automate all your email and LinkedIn outreach, and we can verify those leads to let you know if they're still valid or not to listen to you, which, by the way, you do it with a 98% accuracy. So if the lead appears green, you know the message will hit, maybe LinkedIn, maybe email, and this will save you a lot of time in the process of cherry picking those best leads, just
Yeah,
prospect for CEOs. You got a list in seconds. The same for LinkedIn. You can get those emails from LinkedIn as well. You can reach them via LinkedIn, send an invite, put all these strategies into work.
I love this. I'm. These three things sounds. It doesn't sound overly complicated, but it sounds very, obviously powerful. If I can do LinkedIn connections, if I can make sure I'm doing effective email outreach, and I'm doing a multi-channel, I should be able to, focusing on replies, I should be successful. And obviously, this would lead to naturally more conversation opportunities. If somebody's listening to this, or she and he or he are just like thinking, this made sense. I want to learn more from Fernando. I want to learn more about Source Novio. How did they go about doing so?
That's a great one. Actually, we are open to everyone for everyone's questions. Just follow us on LinkedIn. We got a lot of content there. And if you want to talk to me specifically or any of my teammates, you can go to Snovio and book a demo. We'll be glad to answer all of your questions.
Fernando, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and put that in our show notes so folks can get access to it. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Anytime. Oh man, I'm telling you, Fernando, thank you so much for coming on the show. All right, maybe you're convincing me just a tad bit when it comes to sending out those connection request messages. But I think it ties back like what you said. It depends, right, on the scenario. Go ahead and test it out. I'd love to hear from you. Are you in camp message or camp no message? Drop me a message on LinkedIn and let me know. Appreciate that. In your connection, let me know if you're camp. Let's clarify that. Camp message in your LinkedIn connection request, or camp no message in your LinkedIn connection request. Drop me a message on LinkedIn and let me know. I will read it as personal. You personalize it towards me. You're engaging, so I appreciate that. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the podcast and we'll notify you every time we drop a new piece of episode. Starting in the new year, we have some new masterminds, and I would love to have you join that. That's where you're going to come together with other salespeople, and we're just going to jam. We're going to work on challenges that you're facing. You're going to get help through some of the difficult sales challenges you're facing as a sales rep, and no judgment zone. We want to help you to hit pipeline. Everyone who joins TSC Sales Mastermind, do the stuff that I teach them, they hit their quota, hands down. Hand over fist, it happens all the time. You can go on the website, read some of the testimonials, but if you want to get some accountability, if you want to get some coaching, if you want to get some guidance, if you want to get some assistance, learn from some of the best salespeople and set aggressive goals that you can actually accomplish, check out our mastermind. We are practicing with some of the best every single week. And it's a great opportunity for you to be able to learn, grow, and to hit your numbers. Find more information, go to thesalesevangelist.com/mastermind. Listen, I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. Most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking, go out and do big things. See you on the next one.